our rector has signed an agreement with Huawei, the largest telecom supplier in the world. And they have agreed to sponsor a trip for 2 of our security students to Shenzhen from the 25th of July to the 5th of August. As it stands now, this is a pre-announcement, so I'm working on the details. I can hand this out now. And there will be 2 security students. And I don't know, that's 10. So. And they can be a bachelor or master's.
Not BSc?
They have to be Norwegian citizens. They're easy.
They also count.
They also count. As long as they pay taxes. Right? And what this is NTNU. We will have 6 students going from NTNU, and 2 of them will be coming from what do we call them now again?
NTNU.
NTNU, so it's NIC. We call it NIC now, I guess I don't know. But we were HIG before, now we're at NIC. And there would be security students, and it'd be 1 female and 1 male. But we have to see how the applications go. But ideally encourage you fellow students that are female to apply. And the trip is not so much about security. 1 week will be in Beijing. We teach Chinese for a week. You learn about Chinese education and culture. And 1 week will be in Shenzhen, where you visit a factory and you will learn how to configure a fiber optic router. The Chinese way, too. Essentially the Chinese way. But you can pass this information around and make an official announcement on the web page later. You can look at it too. It's Norwegian also. You can tell your students.
Sure.
Tell your students. We're looking especially for female students. Laura can get one. All right, so is it recording now? Thank you. Stephen will be presenting the subject hyper-contextual software security knowledge management. The presentation format is approximately 25-minute presentation with questions afterwards. And Huawei has authorized me to give a prize to the best question, which will be decided by Morris. And the best question will get to pick from one of these giveaways. So think about your question, because the best one will get one of these giveaways here.
Nice incentive.
What's that?
Nice incentive to ask questions.
Actually, it'd be interesting, before we start, we talked about contextual. Can you actually give a good Chinese translation?
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not Chinese. It says fashionable movement pot. A lot of things get lost in the translation. That's why we're setting up this program, because we're going to have to understand each other. Because I don't think this would sell very well in a Norwegian store. That's a giveaway. Stephen, the floor is yours. You have 25 minutes. And Stephen, I don't think you haven't decided. Do you want questions during, or is it better to wait after it?
I think right after the presentation.
Yeah, so it's right after your questions. We ask questions at the end of the 25 minutes. If that's
okay.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, Stuart. And hello, everybody. Stephen. I joined NTNU last year on December 15th. It's exactly 4 months till today. And I'm going to introduce my research topic, hyper-contextual software security knowledge management. There are 3 keywords in this topic. I like to remember that. The first one is hyper-contextual. The second one is software security. And the last one is knowledge management. And the research work is just begun. So today, I think there will be no concrete conclusion, but I think I want to get more comments or ideas about my research. Okay. Well, it's my life in the next 3 years. Things we are going to build the knowledge management framework or model. I think our research work will all around by the research, design science research. I think we are not very familiar about this methodology. We keep looking at the problems, and we make suggestions, we deliver our artifact, and then we confirm or falsify our hypothesis. We keep running in the 3 years. And this architecture, this model will be on my, will cover in my presentation in the next 25 minutes. Okay, in the first, I like to show some index about the software security. This chart represent the vulnerability trend in the past 10 years. And this data is come from the open source vulnerability database. I don't know if you know about this open source database. It's OSVDB. It's very, very famous open source database in the open source community. But it's very sad. It was closed, shut down in the 10 days ago. Just 10 days ago. It's a very, very shock news in open source community because many open source analytical tools rely on its data to produce the services, but it's shut down for some funding issues and never come back. Okay, but okay, that's not include my presentation. We just use data for the security. Well, from 2011, okay, there have been 5 consecutive years increased till 2015, and reached the record high vulnerability numbers in 2015. Okay, this chart is use the CVSS to assign the vulnerability score. Okay, sorry. We can see that the vulnerability with high and critical severity is more than the 2014. That means the vulnerability are more and more critical. Okay, it's not smooth now. This is the last metrics I like to show about the software security. It's focused on web-related vulnerability. Also, in the past 5 years, the vulnerability in the web-related is still increased, and you can see that the cross-site scraping. If you are from the computer science or the software engineering, I think the cross-site scraping is very familiar to in software engineering. This vulnerability still top the list in 2015, and others like buffer error or SQL injections also regulars in the vulnerability list. Okay, why do I show this data to all of you? Maybe you think the software quality is becomes stable, but I think the truth is not. But how can we defend for this software vulnerabilities? What are the information we can get to defend that? Yes, true, there are lots of software security information we can find all over the internet or the textbook. You can get the standards, it's common standard like a common criteria, or the SSE CMM is the software system engineering capability material model, or ISO, blah, 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 the lots of ISO document over the internet. And you can get the principle, secure principle to guide your design, software design, like least privilege or the defense in depth, okay? There are many textbooks to teach you how to apply these principles. And vulnerabilities, like I said, you can get many vulnerability informations as detailed as you need in the internet. SQL injections, auto overflow. Also, coding rules. I think the Microsoft or Google has provided many coding rules to teach the programmers how to protect their code. And software design lifecycle. Okay, we have been reminded many times about the security concern along the software development. Many like you have to take the security requirement, you have to do the code review, the penetration test, like that. According to the tool, I don't think it's software security information, but I think it plays an important key role in today's software engineering. It helps us in the software assurance, like HP 45, a test mechanism, IBM's app scan or Sonar Cube, okay, and many others. So what's the problem? You can find lots of informations, but the software engineering, the software communities, do they learn from these informations? But yes, they do. They surely do. But I think they do not learn much about this information. That's the problem. The first, we argue that the software communities do not learn much from the existing security information, like guidelines, standards, coding rules. They are too much. They can learn from it. This information combine good ideas, but in coherent packaging. And then the practitioners, they are still just thinking about the checklist and the coding rules. The most important is the whole learning environment. They did not have the understanding of the common characteristics for the communication or within the communities. So based on the problems, we got the motivations. First, okay, we think the security information should be formalized into knowledge, not only knowledge. They should be at a level of abstraction, and be organized into coherence, and be well managed. Second, the secure knowledge should systematically and holistically take into account the social context. Okay, I think we know that the software engineer not only talk related about the technological object. Since the whole software engineering is related to human activities and organization behaviors and cultures, so that we have to model or to evaluate the software security in the social and the technical side. We believe that with the understanding of the common characteristics of the software security, it can promote a greater link between the security discipline and the real-world context. If the community learn the common knowledge, they can apply to different contexts. Okay. Okay. The Harvard Business Review have a words about the today's information security. It said today's information security management requires contextual intelligence. What that means? It means that you have the ability to understand the common knowledge, and to adapt this knowledge to a different environment. That means the contextual knowledge. Okay, our research is meant to propose the common part of this knowledge.
Is that common knowledge or common sense knowledge?
We're thinking of asking questions at the end.
Okay.
Excuse me. So the keyword is the abstraction. Now I'll spend a few slides to discuss the abstraction knowledge. It's very simple example to yesterday's abstraction. Yeah, someone lived in the 1930s still can drive a car today because the car keep the same attractions, right? They have the same wheel steering, the right pedal fast and left pedal slow. Yeah. But I never drive these two cars, but I think, yeah, they keep the same design. So the abstraction is one of the big ideas in computing and computational thinking. We keep this thinking to process our design. Now I break down the abstraction, this keyword, to different levels. Okay, this architecture is, I pick it from the integrated architecture framework. This is very framework in the global enterprise architecture. It applied in the business or information system or the infrastructure design. It defined different levels of the okay, there's no okay. It's different levels of abstraction. Okay, the highest level is the contextual model. Okay, it identifies the principle and objectives within the specific context. Okay, and it asks why questions. You have to ask why we need these things, this requirement, and where and when it happened. It's about the contextual model. Okay, the second model is the conceptual model. Okay, the conceptual model is to describe what service or solutions to fulfill this context requirement. And then the third model is the logical model. Okay, the model tells us how the ideal solutions can be implemented. And finally, the physical model is to provide the detailed information to realize the whole solutions. Okay, so this is abstraction level. What is hypercontextual? Our hypercontextual would like to make alignment at more than 10,000 feet. I think maybe it's 50,000 feet, because the commercial flight about 35,000, right? I like to make alignment more and more up. We think this knowledge will be more variable to our software communities. Okay. Okay, we talk about many backgrounds about software security. Now, I'll return to my research. Well, our research obviously is focused on the software security, right? But the software domain is quite big. It includes free software, proprietary software, but we cannot manage everything. So we choose open source software as our locus. Okay, we did not include the free and the proprietary software. But why we choose open source software? You might feel curious why we choose that. The open software is very common in today's world and is all around us. You can see that 93% internet traffic moves use open source architecture, and 87% cloud run open source, such as like Amazon Web Service, Google, Facebook. It's everywhere. And over 75% company runs operation on open source. That's the situation. And according to the nature of the open source, the nature is give enough eyeball, all bugs are zero. It's open. Everybody can check its source code. Many people say that open source deliver superior security. It's based on the last year's security survey, about 55%. But is that true? Is that true? But no, no. The value we found about over 55% still impact open source software. But the many study about the software security, they overly focus on the journal software. Just journal, but not specific. We think it's worthwhile to focus on security study in software security in the open source. Now I can make objective of our research. We propose a notion of hypercontextual knowledge management. And this mechanism requires knowledge to be described in a level of abstraction called hypercontextual. It can share by all context and allow nonlinear correlate knowledge between context and the identified and transferred. Okay. So our hypothesis is based on this objective is the hypercontextual knowledge management can improve security quality of software products. Okay. Not only delivered and maintained by the software communities. Okay, that's the hypothesis. Okay, based on these objectives, we generate our research questions. Whether hypercontextual security knowledge management system can improve the security quality of software products that are produced and maintained by open source communities. This question is still big. We can split this question to some little questions. The question one is, what are the strengths and weaknesses, technical and non-technical, of software security management defined in open source community? This question we trigger a study to understand the current situation of software security from technical and non-technical side. We like to observe the characteristics in software community, especially open source. And second, what security information can be abstract and formalized as a knowledge meta model? How these observed characteristics can be formalized a knowledge model, okay, especially to be abstract. The third, this model should be embedded in the software community. How can we do that to provide a framework in the community to secure the software product? This is the third question, to how to apply the knowledge model in community. The third, what's the measurement about the knowledge model we provide? We like to find out the measurement. Okay. Now I'm going to introduce some software security management framework and some ideas for discussion. The first is the United Software Security Architecture. Maybe some of you have seen this graph before. It's provided by Bernard and McGraw. Okay. Many research work depends on this architecture to develop the knowledge model or model system. Okay. I think McGraw provided a good idea to organize and integrated the security knowledge. Okay. There are 7 classes of knowledge he provided and can be categorized into, can be grouped in some category. The first one is the descriptive knowledge. Okay, the descriptive knowledge include the principle and the guidelines and rules. They offer he offer knowledge for what to do and what to avoid while building the software. Okay, the second category is the diagnostic knowledge, include the attack pattern, exploit, and the vulnerability. Okay, they help people to recognize and deal with the common problems, and to threat our software security. And the next is the historical knowledge. Okay, in this knowledge includes the historical risk or the vulnerability records. Okay, I think the McGraw provides a good starting point to organize software security knowledge. Here is my idea. I transform McGraw's knowledge model into a hierarchical form. Okay, and with the abstraction levels, the security principle understands the highest abstraction. Okay, the rule they specify their detailed and tactical coding practice. The guideline stay somewhere in the middle between the principle and rule. It forms a hierarchical structure, as well as the threat, exploit, and vulnerabilities. And the descriptive knowledge can trigger constructive activities. Okay, and these activities often performed by white hat is the defense behavior. The diagnostic knowledge will trigger destructive activities, which is the offense behavior and performed by black hat. Okay, so the both hat of knowledge, that's what we need to combine this hat knowledge and to form a security knowledge. And the security pattern is we combine the abstraction knowledge into security pattern. And the security pattern specifies only fundamental and abstract characteristics of the mechanism, not specific software aspects. That's the hierarchical security knowledge. Next, I'll present the security ontology. This is another knowledge model using ontological representation. It's proposed by Stefan Fens. Okay, this is a very common model approach in security knowledge management, but not only for software. This model shows the high-level concept and the corresponding relations of a security ontology. It's based on the NSP special publication A100-12. He used this publication to generate this concept. Yeah, according to this model, we can read this. The vulnerability can be exploited by a threat, and the threat can generate another threat, which will have a potential danger to our asset and affect the security attributes such as the confidentiality, integrity, availability. And the vulnerability can mitigate by control. Okay, it's very, very natural to us to understand the security phenomenon. I give an example of how to apply this ontology to a real world. This graph illustrates the 5-thread model referred to the ontology. Okay, the 5 thread, like we said, they can lead to another thread, like assay damage or injury, okay, and affect the availability, one of security attribute. Okay, and the vulnerabilities, this thread may exploit one or more vulnerabilities, and each vulnerability it has the corresponding control and for mitigation measures, and all these control are derived from the best practice in the left-hand side. Okay. All these elements in the model are described in a natural language, and it gives an understanding of the concept within the organization. Here is another security model, but it's specific for software development. It's constructed based on model-driven architecture. The purpose of this model is specify the security requirement in high level and transform them into security component to the low-level model during the development process. The model-driven architecture consists of 3 layers. The plant, we call the first is the plant independent model. It's used to specify user requirement in the platform domain, such as we may require an online shopping system. Is the plant independent model. The second one is the platform specific model. Shows the architectural design of the software within a specific platform, such as .NET platform. It's a platform specific. The core-level model, we can think that it's a programming language component. How we use it's like a C#. Okay. They also then add a meta model above this architecture to connect the concept and the concrete, the requirement. Again, we use example to explain it. I ignore the meta model here. The meta model is just like the model we just presented, the meta model. Okay. Mapping to the IAF structure. The meta model tells us why we need the security in the software. Why we need, what features we need in this layer. And the platform independent model describes what security element, what security requirement we need. And the platform specific model tells us how to achieve the security requirement. Like we need web service to achieve the low barrier access control and then to protect the data confidentiality. Right? And the core model is the implement the code. But there is a weakness point in this model I found, just in this layer. Okay, it makes the principle and guidelines. It's hard to find the true line to true rules, the rules in this layer. Okay, I think there will have some normalization in this layer. Okay, I just illustrate 3 large models, large major models.
We have about 3 minutes left.
Okay, let's go back. Research methodology. As I said, this research is to produce an artifact. So it's very natural to use design science research as our methodology. I think most of us are very common about this architecture. We find the problems, make suggestions, development, evaluation. Okay, it's the last page. And the first page, I think we can echo from our first page. Our research will have 3 iterations to develop our artifact. In the first iterations, we'll find the problems and make our meta model, okay? And to do first iteration, we'll test it. In the second iterations, we'll study how to make the framework and test again. In the third iterations, we'll test again our model, and we can confirm or falsify our hypothesis. Maybe we are wrong. Yeah, I hope I'm right, but maybe we are wrong. Okay. It's the last page I will show you today. This main is AccelWeb Dijkstra. Okay, it's very famous. It's
right?
yes, it's early theoretical pioneer in many research areas. He has very famous work about abstraction. I use this for the last page. Being abstraction is not being vague. Yeah, I mean, think abstraction just vague. No, he said, being abstraction is to create a new semantic level, which one can be absolutely precise. Our research is to provide this semantic level of knowledge to security, software security. Okay, that's my presentation today.
Thank you very much. All right, so we have 15 minutes for questions. The first question from Shula.
When you said common knowledge, did you mean to say common sense knowledge, or did you mean to really point to some knowledge that everybody knows?
We have to summarize, not only summarize the knowledge, we like to abstract the common part of the knowledge. We know the security, there are many domains in the security fields, so different security field. But we believe that there are some common concept in security knowledge. We cannot learn information security today and learn software security tomorrow, and then we learn web security future. We cannot learn everything, but we can learn the common part of the
So
security.
you are referring to the nodes in an ontology, the concepts in an ontology.
Yeah.
But then how is that ontology, or how will it be eventually related to that software security model that you presented?
Mm-hmm.
What is the relation? What is the connection?
But for security, that is the difference between the security or the information is that the security has its different process. They have their, you can say we have a traditional waterfall process. We have agile. We have extreme programming. Different process will have different, different knowledge model to fit it. The ontology we present just the journal security ontology, but we have to apply it in the open source, maybe like agile or extremely programming the environment. Yeah. Okay, we have to generate another security ontology for software. Yeah.
So, but then what is the
One
goal?
more question. One more question and see if it's others.
You have the ontology, you have the model, but what do you plan to do with this?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I'm still figuring out.
I remember your research questions and the motivation slides, but eventually what would this boil down to?
Okay, back to research questions. Yeah, the ontology part will fall in the second questions. The ontology part, we'll study this in the second study to build secure ontology, because we have to know the problems, the problems or the situations we got in software communities. So we'll build ontology in the second questions, the meta model. Yeah.
Does anybody else have a question? I can have a follow-up question to that. Does anybody else? Yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I would like to ask, especially for research question 3 and 4, if you have identified specific research methods in order to get results and validate your assumptions, especially for these two. How do you plan to get solid measures to validate your assumptions?
Actually, not yet. Yeah, how to? You mean the question 3 or 4 evaluation, right? Yeah, I think it's very good questions. How to evaluate the quality of security? Yeah, we are looking for this measurement. Actually, there are many guidance about the security measurement, software security measurement. Yeah, the common common body of knowledge. Yeah, there is no concrete measurement we found to fit the knowledge measure system now. Yeah.
Can I say, if you go back a bit more slides, right? Go back to your first slide.
First slide.
Not that one, the next one, back. Back.
Back.
We talked about the problem. Keep going, back. Okay, this one.
Okay.
We have a measurement. The amount of vulnerabilities. So one would assume then that after using this knowledge thing, that the software produced should have less vulnerability.
To apply that, it will require for everyone to apply the methodology, the proposed methodology, and then see positive impact.
No, okay, I think the one thing we can do about the evaluation, we can do an experiment. Like we have two teams of soft programmers. We give him 100 pages of guidance, right?
Yeah.
To help him to get knowledge about the script information. And one team will give him the hyper-contextual knowledge management. We do the experiment and to get some result from this experiment. Yeah.
That's a question.
Yeah.
Good. Does anybody else have follow-up questions to Shula? She has one before.
So in slide number 18 and 19, you propose, or you just showed an ontology proposed by Stephen Franz about information security.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know that, do you have any plan to modify it according to your requirement, or are you going to use it because it has a very limited nodes of information, so maybe it will be relevant or not relevant for your research work. So do you have any plan to do it? And my second question is that in your research question number 3, you are thinking about to integrate, different models or frameworks to solve your overall problem. So any idea or clue in your mind that how will you do? Will you use any ontology or anything that you can provide any information? How will you integrate? Because everyone has a different concept about particular topic. So in order to integrate something, you should first of all establish a common, understanding of that area.
Yeah.
So how will you reach that goal?
Okay. So there's two questions. The first question, about the ontology. I think I found that many ontologies we can find today, the secure ontology is focused on information security. If you can find, there are just 1 or 2 papers you can find exactly for software security. But if you ask me, how can we reach another ontology for software? But I think I've still leveraged the Stephen Franz ontology. Maybe I will fit into the software community, especially for open source. I just say that the open source have different natural software development. It's not like the waterfall development. It's like a freestyle. They have agile. But what this ontology can apply to agile? It's not only technical. We have to apply the social favors in this ontology. We have to apply the human behaviors, the culture, organizations, and we have to enrich this ontology. But the core, I think, would mostly the same about with this Stephen Franz. Okay. And about the second question is how to integrate this ontology into a framework. Yeah, I think it's a big job because we have to realize this ontology. Ontology is just a model. It's not a physical artifact for users. So we have to build a web-based solution for users to use this ontology. And the knowledge will come from us. Will be the one to produce the knowledge. Because we found, after our research, we have found the knowledge. Actually, not the knowledge, we found the truth. We found the truth in open source. We build the truth in the ontology and publish to the community through a web page. Okay. So there should be 2 artifacts in our research. One is the knowledge model. Second is the framework build upon the larger model.
Just comment that the first question I always ask to my doctoral students, and then there's no answer to it, so don't worry about it, is truth discovered or created? Don't have to answer it now, but just think about the thing. Will they be creating, when it comes to ontology, creating security truth or discovering security truth? And that's a different part. But do you have a second question?
No,
Paul?
I have a comment. You said that as ontology is not a physical tool, so we cannot use it directly in software building, I think. But you can formalize an ontology using using formal language, and then you can use directly into software creation also. So there are many formal languages available like OWL and
Yeah.
so yeah, and you can use tool to formalize this one, and then you can distribute it, and you can also plug it into software. And this was just my comment.
Okay, thanks.
Comment. There's another follow-up or anybody else?
Comment on the comment. Yes, I have been doing that. This is what I have been working on, and so you can do whatever you want. There is no
Exactly, yeah.
WL, and you can use it for software, and you can use it for whatever you want. It's just a description of the environment. That's all it is.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want in that.
It's like it's more than just a diagram. So normally when we see ontology, it's represented as a diagram, but we can do many things just by using a proper tool and formal language.
But the question is what you are going to do with the ontology. Why do you need it? Why would you do it?
Yeah, ontology is a modern language. I think it's good for the communication within, I think, to capture the knowledge. I think the most important thing of research is not the building ontology. Now, I think we want to find the knowledge, but we leverage ontology to represent the knowledge. But there may be some tools or some softwares can help us to build ontology. But I think ontology is very natural for us to form the knowledge we found, to build a relationship.
I think this will be
Aphorism here is that models, I guess knowledge is not wrong or right, they're more or less useful. He's going to be measuring the usefulness of the ontology more than the actual truth of the
Then the
ontology.
usefulness first. What is it that needs to be defined in more concrete terms, I think.
Yeah.
So you had a follow-up.
Especially if you are talking about vulnerabilities.
I think this is a good candidate if you consider your research question number 3, where you are trying to integrate different models, framework, or different ideas from different areas to solve your problem. So ontology can help you because it can help to establish a common understanding in a community. So maybe this will help you to integrate knowledge from different areas.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
Do you have any requests to the?
Oh yeah, thanks for reminding. Actually, I have submitted a strategic paper for my proposal to a conference, and I generate a document. I have just 3 copies here. I think maybe you can, some of you can help me to review this document. Since I think I'm in a very important phase about my research. I need to get a comment like Vivek, very comment about ontology. And about, maybe you have a comment about the knowledge management or the security, like training or what. I think maybe you can help me to review this document, or maybe you like the soft copy. I can send you it.
So Stewart is your supervisor.
And
Stuart, yeah,
What
Luna.
do you get out of you?
well, what was the word I said you're supposed to put after the review? You're supposed to put in the section of the paper?
Good.
Acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, sure.
And my name is not
Yeah.
on the paper. I'm not.
Yeah.
Supervisor.
Definitely. Yeah, sure.
He submitted the paper. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm the chair of the conference, so it makes it a bit complicated. It would've
So,
looked good anyways.
yeah, you're welcome to give your.
You have 2 more minutes. Any more questions? And then Marish will decide on the winner.
I mean, we. Yeah.
What?
Okay.
Any more questions? Going once? Oh, one more question. Yes, go ahead.
I don't know if it's relevant, but how would this different static and dynamic analysis of software?
Sorry, I don't understand. Would you please explain again?
I don't know if this is a relevant question, but how would this be better or different than the static and the dynamic analysis of the software?
Static and dynamic software analysis.
There's two ways of
The
doing
tools.
vulnerability analysis. You have two tools. You have the different tools.
Yeah.
So this is beyond just tools.
Mm.
So it's not that it's different. It's just that tools are
Yeah,
one.
but
Go back to the slide with the tools.
The people make mistakes and the people don't use even tools that help them. Then why should they
Right.
use something like this?
That's what he's measuring, the social technical reason why people don't use the tools. So that one here, right? So it includes this. So that's part of it. So he's going to be studying all of it. So in terms of the social technical modeling, that's the method and the machine. And then he has to study the culture and the structure. So that's why it's a social technical approach. It's not just a technical approach or a social approach. That was the last question, and we have a winner.
So we're selecting a single person
Yes.
for a single prize?
Yes.
Okay. I think,
It's up to you.
so I think the question about validating the results was the most in-depth and most appropriate for the presentation. So I would vote for that one.
And who's that? All right, so yeah. So next time, I guess we can do it too. Is any batch? Okay. No, this one. Okay, yeah. So you get to pick. Okay.
Yeah.
No? Yeah, right now. Come on, yeah. And don't forget, thank you everybody for the seminar.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Let us hope your pitch is accepted for the presentation in Slovenia.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.